Welcome back, boys. It's another review. Roll the intro. All right. So today we're going to be talking about one of the franchises just been here for quite a while. I'll give you a hint. I mean, as of recording, it is the 10th of June, so you guys can kind of guess what movie it is. It is Transformers: The Rise of the Beast. Right? So today we're going to be talking about that movie. But before that, we're here to talk about Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I'm gonna be real with you. Transformers has a special place in my heart, right? Because the whole notion of robots fighting each other and making it look cool was Transformers. And my first song I learned on my guitar was Arrival to Earth by Steve Jablonsky. So, it's kind of crazy that the franchise is going this long. The first thing you have to note is this movie is basically a reboot, right? It's got nothing to do with all the past Transformers. Like, I think there's what, six of them, five of them now. This is the seventh one, I think. But the previous ones does not count at all, except for Bumblebee. This is a continuation from Bumblebee, but it is nothing to do with the earlier part. So completely scrapped off, right? So first of all, let's talk about the plot of the movie, right? So the plot of the movie is obviously we introduced to the Autobots, but this band of Autobots is not the same band of Autobot. It consists of Mirage, RC, Optimus Prime, and Bumblebee. These four guys, they are the Autobots. Just these four. Oh, and Wheeljack comes later part of the movie, but I guess it's also considered one of them, right? So the movie takes place in the 1990s, right, somewhere there, and it has been 7 years since the Autobots have escaped Cybertron to come to Earth to hide and to regroup, right? You guys have seen the previous movies. It's basically a battle on Cybertron between Autobots and Decepticons, and the Autobots flee to kind of regroup and to go back, but they regroup and they had no chance of going back home. So that's that, right? So then we're introduced to a different species of bots which are called maximals. They from what so we're introduced to a different species of bots called the maximals. So what the maximals have them said is they are basically a race of behind a race of a species in the past and a more advanced species in the future. Because in the movie, one of the Maximals, the leader of the Maximal, it's called Optimus Primal, and he was named after the great warrior of Cybertron, which is Optimus Prime. So yes, they were created after the Autobots were created, but they also are not as advanced as the Autobots because they are like basically like animals, right? They're not like machines. They don't transform into cars or anything like that. So that's interesting thing to note. And what makes it interesting is the Maximals were in the actual comics, and even when I was watching as a kid in animated series, the Maximals were there. So it's very comic accurate, if you would say, right? Comic accurate. And basically, this whole movie is kind of opening up of the Autobots to having life on Earth, and also to discovering the Maximals and how the Autobots and Maximals work together, and especially how Prime basically cares and learns how to defend Earth as his own planet. So graphics and CGI, right? That's the next part of it. Graphics and CGI usually for the past Transformers movies, graphics and CGI were pretty good, right? The past Transformers movies, they kind of lost their essence, just like you have like major franchises like Fast and Furious and all, they all lost their magic. But for Transformers, um they lost their magic not because the graphics and CGI have always been on point. It's the storyline that's always lacking. So graphics and CGI, I wasn't really too worried, but I was also kind of worried at the same time because it was a reboot. But 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 they didn't disappoint. They came in with a smoke and they freaking delivered. I'm telling you that they delivered. It was pretty. It was pretty good. Not much wonkiness. There is one wonky part of the movie, but I'll let you know later about that. So let's look at the characters, right? First, we introduced Terracons. So Terracons are basically the henchmen that are powered by the Unicron, and they are led by this fighter called Scourge. And all the Terracons have like indestructible. They're not indestructible, but close to indestructible levels of armor that they wear, which is pretty powerful and can withstand a lot of attacks. So that is a very, I guess, a plus thing for them, right? Plus thing for them. And basically they collect, and basically Scourge is this interdimensional hunter that goes to different planets, wipes out planets so that the Unicron can come and eat and destroy the planet. It is something like Silver Surfer and Galactus from the Marvel universe. Silver Surfer wants everybody to leave the planet and Galactus eats the planet, so it's kind of the same thing. But this is Scourge kills the planet, and that is what he did to the Maximals home planet, and that's why the Maximals had to evacuate and to leave their planet, because Scourge and killed it and Unicron eat it, because he needs the planets to sustain, right? And basically, to be fair, Scourge, right? Scourge, the tallest robot out of all the bots in the whole movie, and most one of the most powerful ones, was played by none other than Peter Dinklage. Yes, I'm gonna put his picture somewhere here. That guy, the short guy from Game of Thrones and from the Pixels movies. I was pretty, I would say I was pretty surprised when I saw that, because I mean, like, he's the last person you would think to play the tallest character in the movie. I'm just saying, it's not funny, it's like the irony behind it. It's pretty funny, right? So yeah. But I mean, it is kind of funny. You gotta admit it, right? So then we introduced to the Maximals, right? The Maximals are basically bots that look like animals, but they can maximize and become like actual robots. I know it seems confusing. So example for Transformers, right? Example for the Autobots, they're like normal robots, right? And then when they transform, they become like cars or they become vehicles, right? But for Maximals, it's the other way around. Their normal form are like normal animals, like Optimus Primal is like gorilla, and Cheetos is cheetah, Rhinox is a rhino, and Air Razor is a eagle. But when they maximize, they become robots, indestructible, not like battle ready robots. That makes sense, right? So Maximals are advanced species and yet not as advanced. Optimus Primal is pretty powerful. For me, my most favorite Maximal was actually Air Razor, because I think Air Razor looks like so cool, like the whole eagle and the scales and everything. I always loved Air Razor even since the animated series of like so many years ago. I was kind of sad that, like, she got corrupted by Scourge, and she was eventually had to be killed off by but she had to be killed off by Optimus Primal. But yeah, man, she's my favorite Maximal. And now we let's look at the cast of of the Maximals. Ares, my most favorite character. I was so happy when I saw this. Was played by Oscar-winning actress Michelle Yeoh, the first Malaysian woman. I think it's the first Malaysian to win an Oscar award. If you guys don't know, I'm from Malaysia, and she's from Malaysia, and she plays Eraser, which is my favorite character, which is so sick and so interesting. And I was so happy that she was playing Eraser, and she did not disappoint. Eraser was pretty good in the movie, right? Autobots. Oh, and another thing I want to say thing about Maximals is I'm fairly certain that day, if you were to pit the Autobots against the Maximals, my money would be on the Maximals because they are way more powerful than the Autobots. I'm sorry, but it's true. Except maybe Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, I wouldn't see RC or Mirage fight defeating anybody if I'm being pretty honest. So now we talk about Autobots, the rebooted version of the Autobots, the new Autobots, right? So this version of the Autobots consists of Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, RC, Mirage, and Wheeljack. It's I would say I'm pretty disappointed with RC, Wheeljack, and Mirage because Autobots, obviously the main powerful bots of the Autobots would be Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, right? We all know that. But usually in the past, the other bots are able to hold them. Like they had a Hound last time in the past Transformers movies, and they had like other powerful Autobots, and they could hold themselves in battle and fights. When I saw RC and Mirage, they are RC is smart. She's like the nerd of the bots, and Mirage is like this goofy guy, goofy bot. But they aren't really combat worthy. They don't even get me on Wheeljack. Wheeljack's an absolute nerd of a bot. So I am pretty disappointed with the cast of the Autobots they had because in the battle the only one who'll be carrying them is Optimus and Bumblebee because against the freaking Terracons, if they didn't have the Maximals, the Autobots would be screwed, right? Um, Funny thing, Mirage has his whole like cool demeanor, hip, raps, thug lifestyle of demeanor to him, and I was so interested to see who actually played him because I was so interested to see, and he was actually played by Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson, which 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 now when I look back and I think about it, it makes a lot of sense from the movie, right? Because I didn't know until I watched after I watched the movie, only I found out, and it made so much of sense. RC is played by Liza Koshy. Can you believe that a YouTuber is now playing RC in Transformers movie? That's crazy. So yeah, I'm not wasn't a fan of Mirage and RC, but I did like Mirage because Mirage was kind of the most hip one, cool one, chill one of the whole movie, right? And obviously the Autobots, the Prime undergoes a realization process of like because this was the Prime fresh off Cybertron, pissed off, the stranded here, and over the movie he learned, like to protect Earth and to protect the people because they're giving him protection too. So next, we introduced to the humans of the movie, which is Noah Diaz and Elena something. I don't know what's the name. Elena something and Noah. Noah Diaz is one of those. You see the typical human in the Transformers movie, the typical scrappy guy gets the scrappy car, and eventually he finds out the Autobot. It takes me to like Sam in the first Transformers movie, how he first discovered Bumblebee and all. But this time, instead of it always being Bumblebee, it was actually Mirage. Owen Diaz is like this scrappy kid from Brooklyn, and he was basically stealing a Porsche. And when he was stealing the car, Prime was calling on the Autobots to reassemble, and he was in Mirage, and so basically Mirage took him. And over the movie, yeah, they became buds, and he basically like joined them to fight against the Terracons, right? He's okay, I guess. There's only one wonky part at the end of the movie. So basically, Scourge have the Maximals and the Autobots are fighting the Terror, holding off the Terracons, so that because there is a chance warp key that basically allows people to open up a portal and to go to different Earths and different universes, right? So basically, Scourge had the transwarp key and he wanted to bring Unicorn to Earth so he could feed on Earth, right? So everybody was distracting the Terracons, and basically Mirage was tasked to strike Scourge. And if you guys watch the movie, Mirage, as I said earlier, is not a fighter, right? He's slick, he's smart, he can duck and weave, but he's gonna lose in a battle, right? So he and Scourge is absolutely destroying him. And at the last part, Before he was dying, he said Noah had to take over, and he basically turned into a super suit, like a super Iron Man suit, and basically Noah Diaz was in a super Iron Man suit and he was fending off Scourge, which in my defense is pretty wonky because first of all, these Transformers, not Avengers. I do not know the whole Mirage turning into a super suit and no one taking over seems super weird and super wonky to me because of the history of the Transformer movies is either you're Transformer, you're a bot, or you're a human. There is no hybrid in between where you wear a super suit. There's no such thing, right? So that was one of the points I was pretty disappointed with the movie because it didn't really follow the whole Transformers culture. But maybe that kind of change is good. Maybe we'll see down the line, but I'm pretty certain I didn't really, it wasn't my vibe to be honest with you, right? So basically, and also let's talk about the movie. The songs were pretty good, or usually Transformer movies, they hit the song pretty well. And also the guy who played Rick, right, he's apparently a rapper and he also created a song for the Transformer movies. It was pretty good at the starting part when Mirage was like from the hood and the boys, he was playing the Wu-Tang songs and all. It was pretty sick. So yeah, the music was pretty good as usual. The ending is Lena gets like mad recognition because she discovered the Peruvian temple. Noah Diaz gets a job offer from G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, yes, the horrible trilogy which The Rock played and Channing Tatum played and all those people played. I am pretty surprised. I do not know. Maybe now they're gonna, maybe, I don't know, maybe they're gonna reboot the G.I. Joe movies and they're gonna tie in the new Transformer reboot of movies. I am not sure. I'm being very honest. I do not know. But from past experiences and past GI Joe movies, GI Joe is pretty bad. So I do not know how they're gonna tie GI Joe in with freaking Transformers. But I really hope Transformers really do well this time in their whole reboot of new movies. And if they were to have a crossover with GI Joe, I mean, do it properly, right? Do it properly. Don't screw it up. Transformers movies means a lot to many people, so hopefully, And they've also teased that the 2020 Transformers 8 will be coming out in 2025, and Transformers 9 will coming out 2027. So it's, I don't know, it's looking good. Will the Maximals join the Autobots? I am not sure. But we'll see. I have high hopes of Transform movies. Overall, if I were to rate it out of 10, I would probably say it's probably a solid 7. I think it's a very solid and decent movie. I am not entirely sure what the previous movie is gonna be about, but the prequel seems to be interesting, so we'll see that. But yeah, it seems pretty interesting, pretty optimistic for the movies. And also, next week is The Flash. So this month, yeah, June is movie madness, baby. And then next month, we have Oppenheimer and the Barbie movie coming out in the same month. Yeah, bro, it's looking crazy. That's all I'll tell you. It's looking pretty nuts. So expect for this channel, right? I'm probably going to be doing movie and maybe show reviews sometimes, but movie reviews. Sometimes I'll do like past movies also as reviews because I can't be doing new movies all the time. It's good to revisit some old movies too, which I find interesting and we should revisit. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this Transformers review. I'm becoming a lot more organized. There's even a script here that I'm reading off. I'm not reading off about the main points. So yeah, pretty interesting. Bright days for the channel ahead. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more content like this. and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. I just want to say, right, this month, yeah, we are coming out with some absolute bangers. Last week, okay, um, as of recording, the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse review has already dropped, right? It did take longer than expected. It was a combination of procrastination and busyness, but mostly procrastination, and that's my bad. I'm so sorry, but it's out now. And basically, I have divided the channels up because when I was on my hiatus or break email, I've recorded a few vlogs. So now we're gonna have a vlogging channel. We're gonna have, and this is gonna be fully for reviews, and we also might have a potential F1 channel. Yes, I am into F1 now. So, pretty exciting time for the channels. Pretty exciting time. So let's get straight into it, right?